The Eiffel Tower, once Paris's proud icon, stands as a frozen black iron mass, imprisoned forever in sharp, thick ice. In Rome, the ancient Colosseum has vanished completely under white snow, historic ruins now deep in a deadly hibernation. The River Thames in London has stopped flowing, its surface solid rock, trapping giant ships in the freezing riverbed. No melodious music plays here, only the wind screaming like a siren, tearing through the gray, death-filled sky. An electronic thermometer on a Berlin street flickers wildly, freezing at -45 degrees Celsius before shattering completely. Stone statues on the streets seem to shiver, reflecting the horror of a civilization frozen instantly in its tracks. We obsess over global warming, but sudden cooling is the fastest death sentence for all of humanity. It is the year 2035, when the North Atlantic current officially stops, cutting off Europe's only heat source. This disaster does not unfold over centuries as predicted, but arrives as a brutal heat shock in just weeks. From space, the old continent of Europe loses its green life, turning into a giant, endless white tomb. Worthless paper money is now used to start fires, as humans realize gold cannot buy warmth. The modern power grid collapses completely, snapping cables, creating blue sparks that vanish instantly in the snowy night. A man stands alone by a frozen window, looking at the dead world, eyes desperately searching for rescue. Climate charts plummet uncontrollably, crossing every safety limit that scientists had ever warned us about before. Modern high-speed trains lie motionless on snow-covered tracks, becoming cold iron coffins for the unfortunate passengers inside. Atlantic waves crash onto the shore and freeze in mid-air, creating monstrous ice walls separating the land. This video is not a science fiction movie, but a simulation based on the worst possible climate data. Welcome to the darkest vision of the future, where human civilization must face a terrifying new ice age. Hold your warm coat tight, for this bone-chilling cold will pierce the screen and haunt your mind now. The deadly white blizzard begins to swallow everything, reducing visibility to absolute zero instantly. Air temperature plummets uncontrollably, breaking every meteorological record ever recorded in modern history. In London, the steel lungs of Big Ben begin to contract violently under -40 cold. The inner metal gears cannot withstand thermal contraction, shattering into small flying fragments. The final bell tolls distorted and deep, like a giant's dying breath before fading out. Tower Bridge, the symbol of connection, is now frozen open, forever severing the riverbanks. Giant hydraulic joints explode, spraying oil that freezes instantly into black waterfalls. Moving to Paris, the Eiffel Tower struggles under thousands of tons of ice clinging to its frame. The tower top sways in the storm, rivets shooting like bullets as the structure twists. At the Louvre, the famous glass pyramid cannot withstand the massive temperature difference inside and out. Hundreds of tempered glass panels explode simultaneously, raining sharp debris into the main hall. Venice, the city of love, witnesses an unprecedented scene as seawater turns to stone before people's eyes. Fragile gondolas are crushed by the terrifying pressure of ice floes colliding with each other. San Marco Square is flooded with snow, frozen pigeons falling from roofs like lifeless stones. Europe's power grid begins to collapse in huge sections, a domino of darkness spreading from Berlin to Madrid. High voltage lines, heavy with ice, snap and create chains of blue sparks tearing through the night. Substations explode from cold overload, leaving thick black smoke columns instantly swept away by the storm. Giant offshore wind turbine blades freeze, lose balance, snap, and plunge into the dark sea. Natural gas pipelines rupture as freezing soil contracts, cutting the last heat source for millions of families. In luxury apartments, glass windows start cracking from temperature difference, inviting the frozen reaper inside. Water in domestic pipes freezes, expands, and destroys the water supply system of entire skyscrapers. Indoor aquariums freeze solid, beautiful pets now trapped in transparent, amber-like ice blocks. At zoos, tropical animals cannot resist falling in droves before staff can evacuate them. Temperate forests turn into glass sculptures, branches snapping with cracks echoing like gunshots. Asphalt on highways cracks into deep trenches, rendering all road transport completely disabled. Cars running on the road stall instantly as fuel jellifies in their tanks. Electric car batteries drop to 0% in minutes, turning expensive vehicles into useless bricks. Planes parked on runways have frozen flaps, tires exploding as rubber loses elasticity. Oil tankers in the North Atlantic are trapped, hulls crushed by the expansion of sea ice. At football stadiums, lush green grass turns into rigid white concrete carpets. Ancient bridges, hundreds of years old, start showing serious cracks threatening to collapse anytime. Cold air floods into subway stations, where thousands are crowded seeking shelter. Human breath turns into thick clouds, obscuring the faces of loved ones. Fire becomes the most precious commodity. People burn anything combustible. Books, wooden chairs, even money. Hospitals fall into chaos as backup generators fail to start due to congealed fuel. Liquid medicines in pharmacies freeze, bursting thousands of vials of vaccines and vital antibiotics. Sprinkler systems trigger accidentally by pressure, spraying water that freezes, turning corridors into ice caves. Reinforced concrete walls sweat cold, then freeze, peeling off paint and plaster. Outside, strong gusts carry razor-sharp ice particles, eroding building surfaces. Outdoor bronze statues oxidize and cover in rime, turning into white ghosts in the open air. Lake Geneva, once calm, is now a giant ice rink where luxury yachts are locked forever. Famous vineyards in France and Italy are buried, ending centuries of European wine history. Nuclear power plants emergency shutdown as cooling water from rivers freezes completely. Firefighters watch helplessly as fires rage from gas explosions, their hoses spraying only ice. The army is mobilized, but armored tanks cannot move on the slippery, icy terrain. Rescue helicopters try to take off, but rotors freeze instantly, making them fall like broken dragonflies. Wolves and bears from deep forests invade the city, smelling human weakness. Civil defense sirens wail continuously, then die out as loudspeakers' diaphragms freeze. Europe, the continent of light, now officially sinks into darkness and the eternal silence of the Ice Age. This is no longer our home. This is the kingdom of ice, where life is just an uninvited guest. As infrastructure collapses, panic begins to spread like a virus invading the human mind. Supermarkets become battlefields, where human dignity is cast aside for a piece of dry bread. Shelves are emptied in mere hours, leaving only despair for those who arrive too late. At gas stations, riots erupt as the last fuel solidifies within the pump nozzles. Millions flee to the streets to escape, but they are only walking into giant snow tombs. Luxury cars are now just useless piles of scrap metal scattered along the highway. Traffic is totally paralyzed, ambulances trapped in the crowd, sirens dying out in hopelessness. Train stations turn into giant refugee camps, where thousands huddle for warmth from each other. The air in the station becomes stifling, the smell of smoke and fear enveloping the cramped space. Heating systems fail, and indoor temperatures drop to dangerous sub-zero levels. People tear up wooden floors, smashing expensive furniture just to keep the fire of life burning for one more hour. Grand libraries are broken into, not to read books, but to take paper for fuel. Cash becomes waste paper. Yesterday's billionaires are now as freezing as the homeless. The medical system collapses, hospitals lose power, doctors helplessly watch patients die in the cold. The elderly and children are the first victims, their frail bodies unable to resist the bone-chilling cold. Police and military dissolve, abandoning posts to return and protect their own families. Law no longer exists. The only valid rule is the law of the strong and survival. Frozen migratory birds fall from the sky, covering the ground like a carpet of death. Clean water is cut off. Humans must melt snow to drink, but the snow is contaminated by ash. Phones and internet died long ago, turning each city into an island completely isolated from the world. No news comes from outside. Rumors spread faster than the storm, sowing invisible fear. Subway tunnels become underground cities, where a new social order is established. Poor hygiene and overcrowding cause diseases to outbreak in the cramped shelters. Above ground, the storm still howls, burying low-rise buildings under 5 meters of snow. International rescue efforts are nullified by the massive wall of cold air surrounding Europe. Ports freeze over, relief food ships cannot dock, and must turn back in helplessness. Humans begin to realize this winter will not end next month or next year. This is the beginning of a new era, where frost is the absolute ruler. Survivors begin a migration journey on foot to the south, leaving all possessions behind. They pass through dead cities, where skyscrapers stand silent like giant tombstones. Many fall on the way and are covered by snow in minutes, becoming part of the landscape. Families lose each other in the blizzard. Names called out are swallowed by the wind. Children no longer remember the shape of the sun. Memories of summer fade in their minds. Europe's vibrant cultures are being wiped out. Art and history sink into hibernation. No more nations, no more borders. Only two groups remain, the living and the dead. Those who stay in the city accept their fate, gathering to await the end in peace. A final candle burns out, leaving total darkness to engulf the freezing room. Outside, the sky clears, revealing cold stars shining down on the dead land. Satellites capture Europe at night, a giant black patch with not a single artificial light. The AMOC current is dead, and it has dragged an entire civilization down into its icy grave. But somewhere deep underground, humanity's heartbeat still beats, weak but not extinguished. A child born underground opens eyes to the world for the first time, seeing not sunlight but firelight. We once conquered nature, but now we must learn to submit to it once again. This ice age is a brutal reminder of the fragility of human existence on this planet. Will spring ever return, or is this Earth's new permanent state? The answer lies in the distant future. For now, we have only one goal: survive. The screen fades to black, leaving only the sound of the cold, howling wind, the last sound of a lost world. The storm finally clears, leaving a continent in eternal white sleep under a cold and cruel sun. Cities once bright with the lights of human civilization now stand as giant tombstones of a bygone era. The sky is strangely clear, stripped of industrial smog, leaving only the deadly purity of the new ice age. Survivors have learned to adapt, retreating deep underground to search for warmth from the core of the earth. We start over from scratch, farming under artificial purple lights and cherishing every precious drop of clean water. In the south, new communities form, where national borders are completely erased by the shared goal of survival. Nature is not malicious. It simply restores order when the inherent balance is broken by humans. This ice age is history's most expensive lesson, reminding us we are only short-term guests on this planet. But is frost the only threat? Prepare your mind for the next terrible scenarios coming soon. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel to avoid missing the next Disaster Files, where science meets fiction.